Welcome to Curse Breakers, where we leverage astrology to empower you. I'm Jacki Smith, and I'm here with my co-host, chief astrologer and bestie, Storm Sestavani.
Hey, what's going on, girl?
Hey. By the way, this show is sponsored by Coventry Creations, where they have magical solutions to your everyday needs. That's coventrycreations.com. Hey, listen, anything we talk about here at the show, any products, you can go over to coventrycreations.com and find them there.
Yes, definitely. Search them out.
Yeah. Hey, I love our tagline.
Yeah.
Let the stars lead you.
Yes.
Let the stars lead you. I got to incorporate that a little bit into our opener. Let the stars lead you.
Exactly. Who those stars are or what those stars are is a mystery.
Might be you, might be me, might be astrology.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, look, I rhymed.
I have something interesting to say. I don't know if you have been following the news lately. I mean, for the most part, I stay away from it, but, I do log on to social media to post stuff. And of course, they're showing you on the right-hand side everything that's trending. And right now, what is trending on X is everything in regards to the United Healthcare CEO shooter, who is now known as Luigi Mangione. So I don't know if I'm related to him or not.
Is he a suspect or is it really him?
Well, right now he's still a suspect. Okay, but the thing here is that there's a lot of strange things that are going on with this. For example, he was found at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania.
Now I understand. Okay, keep going.
So he was found at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and he was turned in. And when the police got to Altoona, the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, they found a gun that was made with a 3D printer, and it's a ghost gun. I actually had to ask my husband, because he's into guns, what a ghost gun is. And he just laughed at me and he told me they really don't exist. Which I was like, okay, then what are you talking about? He goes, the thread inside the barrel of every single gun is different and unique, Jackie. So it's all traceable.
I know. I watch NCIS and CSI and Criminal Minds.
So this is the strange thing. So I'm like, so why is it a ghost gun? And he said, because basically the plastic of the gun, or what is holding the gun together, is created with something other than, a gun manufacturer. It can be created with stuff that you purchase at home and can be made with a 3D printer, which I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Jackie. I have an HP printer. I have no clue what a 3D printer is. You may be able to enlighten me on that since you're the business lady. But so he was found there and everything. There are some interesting things. He's got very, very bushy eyebrows, which is very classically Italian, as we know, because we used to do video. I also have them. Mine are well manicured because, I'm a gay boy. But, his are a little bit bushy. In the original photos that they sent out, Jackie, there seemed to be a much more larger gap between the left eyebrow and the right eyebrow. And with Luigi, it seems to be maybe like 3 or 4 millimeters. If you look at the pictures, you'll see his eyebrows are really close on the, almost close to a unibrow.
Okay, why are we talking about his eyebrows?
Because because this has descended into conspiracy theory crazy that he's not really the shooter, that this is a patsy, that this is a new Lee Harvey Oswald thing. Because, there's a lot of people out there that do not believe that he shot Kennedy. There are people that are creating memes, Jackie, throughout social media, giving this guy an alibi. From what I did read in his particular manifesto and what he told his friends, which is a little bit sad, that he had a surgery done on his lower back. Now, I don't have any back problems. If people do, I would like to hear from them. So message us so that Jackie and I can be be aware of this. But allegedly, he hasn't suffered through an enormous amount of depression, Jackie, because of where that they did the particular surgery on him. He can no longer date and can no longer perform sexually. And this is a guy that is an extremely, extremely attractive young man, an incredible jawline. I mean, he could be a model for MAC Cosmetics tomorrow. And he has achieved this kind of folklore hero thing. And what I wonder is if there's something larger. And it's what, because you don't read a lot of news and, you do tap into the Akashic records and stuff like that. If there's something larger that's going on here than what meets the eye in regards to just this guy? Is there something more archetypal that's going on here? Do we as a culture now need a folk hero? What do you think? I want to hear what you have to say.
I two things. I will fully admit I've heard a bit of this. I haven't dove into it. It's my algorithm must be off because it's not showing up on my social media. But I'm also not in social media, and I'm not watching the news like I used to. I'm not looking stuff up online. I've had to take a mental health recess from that. But I am here. I've looked it up a little bit, and I don't know if this guy is the guy. Okay, but I do. In watching this, my reaction to it and diving into the Akashic Records and looking at what's going on culturally for us, because I've been doing a lot of that work. As a society, there's a big part of us that's looking for a different hero. So there's a big, in the US, there's a huge group of people who were looking for that hero that you're talking about, the rebel, and they decided that hero is Trump.
Right.
And so the thing about a hero is that the hero gets away with all kinds of stuff. I mean, I think about like watching a Superman movie. We've talked about this before in other shows. Superman is very destructive. He's pulling off a part of a bridge because there's cars and the bridge is blah, blah, blah. And then, or, he's trying to stop a train, but the train is going through buildings. I mean, so there's a lot of destruction that happens around a hero. Mm-hmm. And then the arch enemy, the bad guy is the catalyst for these things. It's a catalyst for change. Change wouldn't happen without the bad guy.
Right.
And I have a whole theory around this. So looking at what's going on culturally for us and listening to people I know around the country. So I do talk to a lot of people around the country, and the level of desperation in what the hell is my world coming to? I don't know what to do. I got to get out of this mess. I don't want to be a part of this. Very sad, very scared. And so they're going to celebrate something that destroys some of who they think is the evil forces.
It's interesting.
Villain.
In his manifesto, Jackie, he did call the United Healthcare, which is the largest insurance company in the country, he did call them parasites. And one of the things that he put in there is that we as a country pay the most in regards to healthcare than any other country in the world by far.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
But we are number 42 in regards to mortality rate, which means we're all paying basically to die.
So here's, okay. We know that healthcare is a racket here.
Right.
And I don't know, you and I are both rewatching Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And comparing
Girl,
that.
we love Grey's Anatomy. I love me some Meredith Grey.
I mean, so I could go down a rabbit hole with that. Anyway. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching this show and I'm thinking to myself continuously going, who's paying for that? And it isn't until like season 10 that they start talking about who's paying for this, right. And insurance and all these things. Cause I'm like, this guy's getting open heart surgery and a liver replacement and this and that. And no one's talking about how much it's costing the people and how much in debt
right.
people are getting. They just breeze over that. I mean, I think they talked about it once in like season 5 or 6 when Izzy had her big $500,000 bill for cancer. But I look at this like, I don't go to the doctor like I should because that copay or this or that. I mean, it's like, man, I don't have that cash for that. And then recently, because I had really crappy insurance, going to the doctor meant that I'm getting all these bills later because all of a sudden they're denying this coverage. And I'm like, I've just been paying for all this. So now I'm getting a better insurance, which is of course more expensive than I know in the past has covered things. So it's a giant racket. So I can totally understand.
Not to mention that these insurance companies were just granted a huge, big, gigantic congressional increase. I had read that in many states, Jackie, the insurance this month alone is going up like 22% for many people.
Uh,
Insurance, I can tell you that with the insurance plan because I don't mind being transparent, girl, I'll tell people what I pay. When I first got this health insurance plan in 2015, okay, I was paying $490 a month. 2015, not a bad number. $490.
Well, it was a different economy then. I mean, that's still high.
$490 a month. My rate for 2025 is $1,280 for the same exact insurance.
Just you?
Just me. So that's not including my husband, which is another $1,280. Okay.
So, and you probably have Blue Cross Blue Shield or something like that?
Yes, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield. And
not Blue Care Network, because that's a different ballgame.
Right. So, I have supposedly the best insurance that you can get. Okay. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If somebody has better, please email us.
and once you pass 50, that number goes up.
Right.
I'm paying more than that per person because I'm a little bit older than you.
So one of the things that, with Pluto having moved into Aquarius, Jackie, and Pluto having to do with the group and society and the way that, because Capricorn has to do with governing, okay? Pluto has to do with how that effect of governing, or Aquarius has to do with how that effect of governing affects society and how society responds to that, okay?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
It's Capricorn, Pisces, Aquarius, right?
It's Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces.
Okay, I get them mixed up all the time. I'm very sorry.
That's okay. That's why you have me.
Yeah. So keep talking. So I have a thought.
So basically, I had wrote a huge article on Pluto in Aquarius and the things that will change because Pluto, when it moves through a sign, it will dredge up everything that is not working within that sign and just leave it laying on the street corner. Okay. When Pluto was in Capricorn, it dug up all of the stuff in regards to governmental corruption, and it dug up all of the stuff in regards to the backroom deals and who was doing what, and, how people in politics are basically governed not based upon what they want to do to help people, but based upon what they're going to do to get reelected. So all of this was kind of brought out of the closet since, 2008. Okay. Now Pluto has moved into Aquarius. With Pluto in Aquarius, what is the effect that has had on society, and what within society and society's ideals are no longer working? And it's going to dredge up, how has society been necessarily complicit in the things that have happened in regards to Pluto and Capricorn? And usually, what you will usually see, Jackie, is that the resolution of, like, for example, the resolution of Pluto in Capricorn will come in when Pluto is in Aquarius. Okay, the resolution of Pluto in Aquarius won't come into effect until Pluto is in Pisces, which is in the 2040s. Because Pluto stays in a sign for a long time. And I'm wondering if what we're beginning to see is the glimpses of the underlying themes. It may not necessarily be about Luigi Mangione, and it may not necessarily be about the healthcare industry. It may be about ideas that are underneath that. In other words, the idea, I seen something this morning that last year people in regards to copays paid, and what they had to pay out of pocket was $16.8 billion in regards to cancer treatments alone. Okay. And then just this one company, United Healthcare, made $33 billion in profits. Okay. Or more than that. What it came down to when they did the math, Jackie, was that even if they paid for everything and nobody was out of pocket, Jackie, they would still make $33 billion. And I think the question is how much freaking money do people need?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's...
And I'm all for capitalism, girl. I'm a capitalist.
I know. So, I look at this and so when I look at a few things, I'm curious to know what the percentage is. Right. So let's say, is that, how many billions of dollars was it?
$33 billion.
33 billion. What's the percentage of the revenue is that? Because there is a thing that you need a certain percentage in profitability to stay in business.
Right.
If you're not at least at, say, 15% profitability, earnings before taxes and depreciation,
right,
you're not going to survive. You're not going to weather a storm. Haha,
right.
no pun intended. But you're not. If something major happens, you have a big repair or a big outlay, or whatever. You're not going to survive that. So there is. But then so that's for a small business, right? And then I start thinking about these large corporations, like what's the percentage and how, these billions of dollars, like what if there's, I don't know. So is that an important percentage, or when you get to the billions, does it even freaking matter?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm thinking about when you were talking about Pluto being in Aquarius,
mm-hmm.
and we're about to move in, the sun is about to move into Capricorn.
Right.
So you have Pluto in Aquarius, and then you have the sun is in Capricorn. What's going to happen with that energy between the two, like for this season of December through January? I mean, it's going to take us through inauguration.
Well, the healthcare industry, Jackie, has responded by taking all their board members off their websites, which is an interesting, I would say that's a little bit Capricornian because it has to do with management.
Interesting.
The sun in Capricorn, okay, is about when you have the sun in Sagittarius, which is where it's at this moment, okay, it's about the big picture. It's about looking at things from a broader base perspective. It's
Mm-hmm.
about the percolation of ideals that we want to do in the future. Capricorn is the management of those ideas. So, for example, Jupiter says, oh, I have this big idea that I want to make happen. And Capricorn and the planet Saturn says, okay, what's the budget? How do we build structure around this? How are we going to be disciplined in regards to enacting out this grand idea? And what are the long-term rewards? And I will tell you, there are a couple of seasons that, when they start to come up, people go, Scorpio is one,
Mm-hmm.
And Capricorn is the other. And I think that Scorpio is one because of the fact that, of course, the plutonic elements of dredging up all of the garbage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Capricorn is the other one because I don't think as a culture we really like to work. I think we like to play. I think that we like the idea of the results of working. I think that actually doing the work for many people is a moment. Okay. But what they don't realize in many ways, and it's actually what I wanted to talk about this week, is that Capricorn is a mountain, okay? But if you want to achieve something, you have to climb it. The Capricornian energy in general, Jackie, is about building something that is going to last longer than you will.
Okay. So I think one of the challenges, so talking about like people coming up into the Capricorn season going, I don't want, oh my God, this again, is actually, I think it's because people don't know how to set goals to climb the mountain.
Okay. Tell me what you mean by this.
Okay. So we're taught to dream big, right? You can be anything you want when you grow up. Blah, blah. So this is our culture. This is what we're taught. It comes through, I think it comes through media more than anything else. It comes through stories and et cetera. And the American dream stories. You can be anything.
America by itself, just so that you know, Jackie, has Sagittarius rising. So we have a very, very Jupiterian type of mentality.
Okay. So we're taught this early to dream big, even in like goal setting classes or whatever. Where do you want to be in 3 years? And I don't think we dream big enough, kind of thing. So then what happens is we get to an unrealistic goal. Okay, let's say you want to lose weight. Well, you want to have a bikini body by the summer. Well, you're 100 pounds overweight. That's not going to happen.
Right.
And when you lose that 100 pounds, it's still not a bikini body. But there's this thought, these things that repeat. So is that a realistic goal?
Right.
No. 5 pounds a month is a lot.
And why do you want a bikini body? That would be my first question.
Exactly.
What's that going to do for you?
So we set these goals that are shoulds. You should want this rather than setting a goal of how do I want to feel. And we've talked about this when we were in Keep It Magic. We talked about setting goals based on how you want to feel, not who you want to be. Because you become, when you set a goal, so we set goals like we're going to have $10 million in revenue in the next 12 months. And you're like, how is that possible? That's not even possible. So that realistic long-term goal is really important. And there's a fine balance between dreaming big and then it being achievable. So one thing is I just want to last comment on this is that if you move towards personally your goals, how do you want to feel? And I've proven this in my life over and over again. You achieve a bigger result than if you were going after a thing. Go ahead.
The myth that I associate, because I got to have a myth, girl, that I associate because I see everything through the lens of stories, that I associate with the sign of Capricorn is the Tower of Babel. Now,
okay, I'm listening.
In this myth, humanity decides to build a massive tower to reach heaven. Okay, that was their goal. They wanted to reach heaven. And they wanted to show off their ingenuity. And here is a key word with the sign of Capricorn: ambition. The problem with it is that their hubris got the best of them. So God says, y'all ain't going to try to be me. Y'all need to give that up. So he scatters the people across the earth and scrambles their languages. Now, the moral of the story is aim high, but don't forget your limits or the people that are helping you build the tower.
Right. Well, isn't that the image of the Capricorn is the fish tail and the goat head?
Yes.
And the ram's head.
It's the sea goat. Yeah.
Yeah, the sea goat. So doesn't the fishtail saying you have to keep your roots deep. You have to make sure you're connected with your emotional health and how you feel about something as well. That's the lesson of Capricorn. You aim high and keep rooted in the depth of who you are.
It's about striving for greatness, but with discipline, strategy, and respect for boundaries, not only yours and others, but also the boundaries of nature and natural law. And I think without those guardrails, the very structures that we build, if we had no guardrails or no governing around this, and I don't mean government in regards to the government, but if we have no structure around something or no plan, then all of this comes crashing down relatively quickly. Okay. And I think that is the difference between Sagittarius season, which is about the goal and the big idea and the big picture and the wonderful little terms, if we want to use historical anecdotes, manifest destiny, that I can have whatever it is that I want. And then the Capricornian energy, which requires, that says, yes, you can have all that greatness. Where's the discipline? Where's the strategy? Where's the respect for people's boundaries? Where's the guardrails? And if you don't have this, then it's going to be very difficult for you to achieve the results. And I think that's why people go, ugh.
Right. Also, Capricorns, the many Capricorns that I know with Capricorns and their three main signs, the sun, the moon, and the
Why
rising.
you got to call me out?
Well, listen, I got a husband and a daughter as well. So,
Yeah.
And I have other Capricorns in my life as well, is that they can become very serious, very driven, very unfun, and overwork. I mean, it's like everything is so, it's like life and death. Everything. If I don't make the perfect flan, I'm gonna, it's the end of the world.
Because Capricorn is about legacy. It's not just about the work, Jackie. It's about what you're building and why it matters. Whether that's in your career, whether that's in relationships, whether that's in personal growth, the focus shifts to the long term. And I think it ends up being, what are you creating that's going to outlast you? I think that's what drives Capricorn, and I think that's what drives the season. Okay. It's good to have a grand idea and a grand plan. What is the purpose for you doing it?
Which then reminds me of all the people who are like, have to get the perfect Christmas gift for someone.
Right.
That tops all other Christmas gifts.
The other thing here that I think, because Capricorn has to do with building these structures, and it's one of the things that a lot of people have been coming to me with for, horary readings, Jackie, in regards to their business. Is my business going to make more money in 2025? How are my finances in the future? When I have to sit and explain to them, well, we're looking at two different things here. Okay. There is the money that you're making from your job. Okay. And it is, and in many cases, Jackie, it shows me that there's going to be financial increase for people in 2025. Okay. But then I have to look at something else also in a chart. And that is, how much money do you have on hand? And then I'm seeing an abysmal look at stuff like that, where it looks like people won't have a lot of money on hand.
Because they're all catching up on the debt.
Yeah, that they may be making more, but they're, there's less in their checkbook.
Well, and what we're looking at is that the level of debt that each person has risen astronomically overall. I mean, as a society.
Right. So, one of the things that I think that we have going on here, and I think that there's also a little bit of a conflict, Jackie, because right before we move into Capricorn season, you have the whole deck the halls with balls of holly. Fa la 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 la.
Right.
And all of this Sagittarian energy in regards to joy and goodwill towards men, and achieving some form of connection to the larger picture of things. Okay, that's what I think that the whole Christmas story is about.
It's interesting, sidebar. So with the Sagittarius energy running up to Christmas, so you've got the Christmas season before Christmas, which is, idealism and stuff like that. And then Christmas Day is like smack dab in Capricorn. So it's like, oh my God.
As your kids are opening up their Christmas presents, you're thinking, Jesus, I have to pay that damn freaking credit card bill next month. And am I going to have enough fun? The reality of what you just did now hits you. Okay.
Yes.
And I think that that is why when people experience a lot of anxiety as they begin to past the beginning of the new year, because you go through Christmas and then it's like, oh, new year, new me, all of those
resolution city.
Exactly. Let's create the best version of you in 2025. And then there's all of that excitement around that. And then you have this.
And then reality.
Right.
And you have the other half of the Capricorn season.
So I think that, one of the things I think that's important, Jackie, is that, for us to look at the fact that Saturn is the cosmic taskmaster and he is the ruler of the sign of Capricorn. And as the ruler of the sign of Capricorn, he teaches a lot of lessons. One is patience. In other words, you have to give something time to develop out. The other is responsibility. Okay. And there were a couple of terms that I looked up this morning when I was preparing the notes for this, Jackie. And one of them is the difference between shame and accountability. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between the two words because they automatically associate accountability with the word shame. Okay. In other words, if you don't follow through upon something, it immediately becomes something shameful to you. Now, shame the meaning of it is a painful feeling of humiliation or distress caused by the consciousness of wrong or foolish behavior. Now, accountability is the act of accepting responsibility for one's actions, decisions, and behaviors, and being willing to be judged on performance. And what it's saying here is that the difference is that there's no ability for people to grow in shame, Jackie, but there is the ability for people to grow through accountability, and it can help people achieve their goals, build better relationships, and become more successful. And I think that is, we need to move beyond the shame of, what we're doing at the moment and what we've done wrong. And I think kind of let that go and look at more things like, what am I going to do better in 2025 that's going to help me build what it is that I want? Where did I mess up in 2024? Okay. How do I take accountability for that, and how do I move myself forward?
It's really something that someone needs to see for themselves. You can't put that on someone else other than to say, have you, do you see yourself? And I'm part of the entrepreneur organization, and we have these forums where I get together with the same people every month, and we dive deep. And the thing is that we have some rules, and one of the rules is you cannot tell anyone what to do or your opinion or should them. What you can do and what is helpful is to share your experience. And so we call it experience share, and we call it a forum mindset. So if somebody says, I've got all this stuff going on and blah, 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 and, my whatever it is, you listen, and your response needs to be something like, I heard what you said, and what it brought to mind for me is this event in my life, or this emotion I felt in this unrelated event. So you can talk about how this is affecting you. And what that does is it allows the other person to hear your experience without stepping into shame. Because we're problem solvers. And so somebody comes to us and go, all these things are going on in my life, and this is happening and that's happening. And then our brain goes to clickety, click, click, click. I know how to fix this. Well, me knowing how to fix this is not helpful because I don't know all the things, all the conditions, all the circumstances in your life. So I can say, okay, I know how to fix it. What you do is you just quit. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
I can't just quit this job. I have no money. I'm supporting 17 people. So I don't know your circumstances, and I don't know all of this stuff. So that's where that piece comes into that shame and accountability. But I love that you brought that up, because I think that's really important. So yes, how we treat other people, but also to be cognizant of when you're in a conversation with someone and you're allowing that piece to come up for yourself, the shame to come up for yourself, going, wait a minute, I don't own what this person is saying.
Right.
I'm not what this person is saying, so I can let it go. It's hard when, it is a process, and that's part of the Capricorn boundary. That is a boundary to say, ooh, this is that other person leaking. Their opinions and emotions, whatever is leaking. So here's a boundary. So it's this Capricorn season is really interesting in how we are forced to look at those boundaries, because you're with so many people. I'm like, from Thanksgiving through New Year's, it's people, you're peopled, people.
Right.
People. And that's where boundaries really come in. It's like in our relationships. I don't have a boundary against this cup of coffee. I just,
I do.
I'm sipping it right now.
My boundary is that if I don't have at least an extra box of Starbucks K-Cups in my car, I have a problem.
So your boundary is not like I have a boundary between me and a thing. But the boundaries are really about your interactions with people. So and Capricorn forces us to learn these boundaries. When you're not a Capricorn, Capricorns have really great boundaries. They're like freaking walls. So, but the rest of us learn about them during this time, and we're around people, and it's like family this, and all the pressure of social media, have the ideal holiday season. It's like, ugh, get off me. I just want
astrology.
tacos.
astrology also, like I always say, Jackie, astrology tells us what to work on and the pathway out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you have Capricorn season and you have that big, huge, gigantic Jupiterian ideal of what it is that you want to accomplish, okay? It's then taking that idea, writing it down, okay, and then flipping into Saturn mode, okay, and developing strategies to work on that through Capricorn season, which one of which I can think of immediately, which would be a productive way of working with the energy, because there are some shadow sides. One productive way, Jackie, would be setting realistic long-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
Which you were talking about earlier, with somebody wanting a beach body by summer. Okay. That may be a wonderful long-term goal, but you may want to give yourself more than just this summer if you're 100 pounds overweight.
Or decide that you already have a beach body because you have a body and you go to the beach.
Right. I mean, yeah, exactly. Another one would be breaking big, huge, gigantic projects into smaller, manageable steps. Now, Jackie, you own a corporation, a manufacturing corporation, even. Okay.
It's small. It's small. Don't say large. It's small.
Okay. When you're working, because I think that giving people a practical example of how that works would be good. How do you break up your big projects into smaller, manageable steps?
Well, first off, I got to talk about goals. Goal setting is a huge challenge because I've been doing this for 30 years and I have set some really ineffective goals.
Quit telling people how old we are. You've only had that company for 6 months. We're in our
32 years. 32 years. Shh. I'm 56 and I look amazing. So I'm all about that. Sure. But you're 12, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm 12. I can still look 12.
So setting goals is an art because you can say, we're going to do this and this and this. So you just put those goals out there, but you don't create an action plan to achieve those goals. They're just goals. They're just out there. They're like stars in the sky. I'm like, isn't that pretty? The sun rises every day. My goal is ineffective and it's on the wall, So backing, you got to do it forward and backward at the same time. What are we actually working on? Mm-hmm. So what are the actions I'm taking in my life? What are the things that I'm doing every day? And what do those actions take me? So that's really how you start to break that big goal into smaller tasks and actions and projects, mini projects, because you start, here's where I'm going, but what am I doing every day? And so then you start to look at, well, what do I need to change in my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly actions that get me towards that goal? And if I can't change these actions, then my goal's not in alignment. Okay, so for instance, just taking real life practical stuff, get it out of the corporate into the life practical. Let's say you want to buy a house. Mm-hmm. You want a house, and because we're talking about Capricorn, so let's talk about material things. You want a house in general. You want to get out of the rental game and into home ownership. All right, so that's your goal for 2025. When do you want to achieve that goal? By December? Okay. Well, when's the best time to buy a house? Well, the best time to buy a house maybe in the fall. All right. So what are the prices of houses in the area you want to live in?
And are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market?
Right. So if the prices of the houses of where you want to live in this beautiful area, well, the prices of houses are $1 million. Well, I'm going to need $100,000 down. Mm-hmm. Just as an opening bid. Well, I got $15 in the bank. So $15 and I don't make $100,000 a year. So I can't afford that mortgage. So, now, so your goal is to have this house in this beautiful area, but you can't afford it. Now you got to say, okay, what can I afford? My rent, I'm paying $2,000 a month in rent. So I can afford about that much in a house note. Now, get online and find out what the price of the house is. And then you start building that and you're like, oh, you know what? The houses in my area and where I want to live are nowhere close to that. So do I want to buy a house with someone? Do I want to buy a house in a different area? What do I want to do with this now? So it's like, is what I'm doing and by the way, I'm spending my entire paycheck every week or every month or 2 weeks, whatever. So I have nothing left over to save. Well, that's a problem too. So if you don't have anything left over to save, you can't save any money to get to where you want to go. Well, then now what needs to change to get that goal? Because there's always something that needs to change to hit a goal. Always. Whether it's, I want to find new love in my life, but I never leave my house. So now I need to change a behavior in my life. I want to feel more at peace. I don't want to be in constant crisis. So what needs to change? There's those two. You can't have a goal and it's like which is like casting a spell out there. That's sending your magic and your energy out to a goal to manifest. That's magic. Goal setting is magic.
Right.
And if you and you have to create change in your life to hit it, because if you're doing the same old, you're not going to do it. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Start in your daily. What am I doing every day? And does what I'm doing help me hit that goal? It's literally what we talk about here at Coventry. We're like, okay, what are you doing today to help us get to this goal?
Right. I think that the next thing that is also important, a lot of people want to do things in a very quick way. Very quick. And I think that people, when they're working under a Saturnian construct, which is Capricorn season, that they need to prioritize consistency over speed. Meaning, are you consistently, here is an example. You want to, you're an independent contractor for Uber. Are you consistently getting up to make yourself available at 7 a.m., okay, and working until whenever, okay, based on your particular goals and how much that you're making from Uber? Is there a consistency here? Okay, at the end of the day, the amount of time that you may put into something or the lack of the amount of time may not be as important as to whether you're getting up and doing it every day.
Here's the perfect example I was thinking about this morning. So I started a new audiobook today. It's like, Think Like a Monk or Act Like a Monk. Jay Shetty wrote it. It's an interesting book. And so it was recommended to me. And the person who recommended it to me said, I got all of this stuff out of it, all these great things out of this book. And I want those great things out of that book too. I want that sense of peace that this person got out of this book. And so I started it this morning, and then I looked at how long it's going to take to listen to it, because I'll listen to this like in the morning as I'm getting ready, whatever. And I'm like, I just want to have what this book has given to me. But it's hilarious because you can't grab a book and instantly absorb the knowledge. You get the knowledge word by word, paragraph by paragraph, chapter by chapter. You can't skip to the end, read the last couple of pages, and completely understand everything it gives to you. You can't shortcut it. You can't read the last page and know what all the characters did in the story and why they did it that way.
Right.
So you can't shortcut that. I mean, yeah, you could get a Cliff Notes, but you will 100% miss the wisdom that's going to come from that.
Saturn also, Jackie, rewards persistence and dedication over anything else. So it is the process of getting up and doing the work, quote unquote, and showing up and doing what it is that you need to do and being persistent, that Saturn likes. For many, many years, I used as my myth for the sign of Capricorn, because 'tis the season, is the Scrooge story. And the reason being is that, there's a wonderful scene in the Scrooge novel in which the ghost of Marley comes back and he is explaining to Scrooge everything that has gone wrong and that he's chained to elements of the way that he lived his life, and he couldn't make movement as a result of it. Okay. And we know that Scrooge goes through a transformation, a supernatural transformation throughout the novel. And, at the end of the novel, he's a completely different person than he was before. But the issue where you have also is that you have the alternative side of Capricorn in the character of, I forget his name actually, Bob Cratchit.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that's working for Scrooge. And what he's doing is showing up every day. And he's doing the work, and he's freezing, and he's got problems at home, and he's got a child that's ill, but he keeps persevering and persevering and persevering and persevering through it, and that he's dedicated to what it is that he's doing, and at the end of the story he's rewarded as a result of that dedication. So I think that that's one of the things to keep in mind is keep trudging along, even when you get up in the morning and you say, oh, this is just not working for me, do it anyways.
Yes, you can't fast forward meditation. You got to do it anyways.
Mm-hmm. So the things that I think that we need to avoid when we're dealing with Capricorn season is becoming over serious or over critical. Okay. And also losing sight of emotional needs in pursuit of goals.
Agreed. 100%. Remember what I said in that goal setting? Right. How do you want to feel? And I do that with my team here at Coventry. Okay, we want this goal of this. Why? And how do we want to feel about it? And I know that I have the right team when they can dive into that. Like, one of the goals we put together, and it's like, and how do we want to feel with that goal? And they're like, I want to feel excited about what I do. I want to feel this and this and this. I'm like, okay, cool. So our goal is pride and excitement. And we found some other adjectives for that. So it's like, okay, you want this house. Why? How, mm-hmm. What does having this house, what does it make you feel? What are you imagining your feelings
right
are, which we learned from, I forgot her name, which we learned from Danielle
Laporte.
So which we learned from Danielle Laporte, is that goal is that how do you want it? So the house, how does it make you feel? Do you feel stable? Do you feel secure? Do you feel comfortable? So what is the feeling? And, hey, listen, I got a feeling wheel here at work, and we go through that. We'll say, is it this? Is it this? It's really important because your emotions drive you more than your logic.
Absolutely.
So other tips for staying balanced while embracing the Capricorn energy. How do we stay balanced through this season and avoid those pitfalls?
Well, one of the things that I would suggest is people stock up on Saturn candles. The reason being is that the Saturn candle on its own is a banishing candle. It is aptly titled, Get the F Out. Now, one of the things that people don't realize about banishing, okay, is that not only can you use it to banish somebody that may be disruptive in your life or, causing issues or attempting to stymie your growth, but you can also use it in a self-reflective sort of way to banish, certain things or character defects in your own life that may be causing problems or that may be leading you to fall into past behavior patterns that may not be great to achieve the results that you want to achieve. I can because I have the Sun conjunct Mars in Leo in square to Saturn. Obstacles and frustrations can lead me to be very, very reactive. So one of the things that I wrote down, Jackie, is that I wanted to burn a Saturn candle on my reactive tendencies.
Okay.
Because I think at the end of the day that being reactive may not necessarily be productive to getting the results that I want. And there may be a whole 14-page document that I end up writing by the end of the week to put under that Saturn candle. Okay. But using Saturn in a way that helps you build that structure and that foundation. Like, for example, if, Saturn likes persistence, okay, you can use the Saturn candle to banish laziness. You can use Saturn likes patience. You can burn the Saturn candle to get rid of impatience.
So here's the thing that gets confusing when I talk about this with my clients. Like, what do you mean I have to banish something to find consistency? And I say, well, think about it this way. What do you need to do when you pour the foundation of a building? Because Saturn is always also about foundation, structure, whatever. So let's think about a structure. Let's think about building a house. What do you need to do? Well, you need to level the ground. Even if you're not digging out a basement, you need to level the ground, and then you need to remove the things that keep that ground from being level. You need to dig holes and remove the ground so you have foundational posts. So look at this banishment as I'm removing the things that keep me from having boundaries, structure, foundation. Did you like that analogy? Storm?
Yeah, I think that there's also other things that can be used, because I absolutely appreciate what you just said. And it's a great way of looking at it. And you can add to that, some obsidian and some onyx for the grounding properties that are associated with it. Because Saturn likes to be grounded. It doesn't like to be floating out in the air somewhere. It doesn't like ideas. It likes practical movement from point A to point B.
The other thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, the other thing Saturn likes is when you strategize and plan. So that means you're writing stuff down. Yes. You're creating your lists, and then you're taking that list and creating sub lists from it. Not that you need to be,
and checking it twice.
And checking it twice. I mean, like sometimes lists can freeze you, and then all you're doing is making a list and adding stuff to the list. You can cross it off. But it's like, I want to do all these things. Well, what you take any one of those things and say, okay, what are the things I need to do to get to this next step?
Right.
So start breaking it down into smaller, bite-sized, attainable action steps.
I think that a great way to do that also, if you want to be a little bit more creative, Jackie, is to get a poster board and create a vision board of what you would like to accomplish. And rather than a vision board from the perspective of just slathering everything that you want to achieve in 2025, although I recommend that as well, one in which focuses on what are the particular steps that you're going to take to get to the result. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if what it is that you want to create is a more successful business, the imagery that you put on this vision board is the steps that you need to take to get there.
It's okay to keep breaking it down to smaller and smaller pieces.
Yeah, you can have 40 vision boards. I mean, we don't care. I mean, if you need a whole house full, we don't care. We don't judge.
So to kind of recap, because we're winding up to the end of our show, Capricorn is about climbing your own personal mountain. And if you look at what mountain climbers do, is they have base camps along the way. So they're not looking at the top of the mountain. They're looking at the base camp. The next level that they're going to get to. And then they're assessing where all the handholds are and where all the pieces are to get to the next level up.
Absolutely. And for people
not that I ever want to climb a mountain like that.
And for people to remember that each season, Jackie, is a tool. Okay. And Capricorn season is a tool that people should use for growth and accomplishment. What is it that you want to accomplish? Not just your dream. What do you want to accomplish? What is the end result going to be?
And focus on that so you don't end up circling the drain and burnout.
Exactly. Now, there's a lot of things, Jackie, that are going to happen during Capricorn season. One of the things next week that we have is that Chiron, who is the VIP for next week, as we move into the Christmas week, Chiron, the wounded healer, is the VIP. And he represents life's unfairness. Okay. So, that there may be different themes that we talk about through Capricorn season that fall within the lines of Capricorn season that will provide you with more additional tools and tips to help get through this.
Love it. This is going to be an interesting show next week.
It definitely is. Now, Jackie, where can everybody find you?
Well, first of all, they can find this week's astrology on a link that's in the show notes here that takes you to the Google Calendar for Curse Breakers that you can add to any calendar that you use, digital calendar that you use. And so you can have every day's astrological forecast and what the theme is for the day and what to look at and what energies and what candle, what stone will help you. So grab that calendar so you have your astrology, Storm's astrology, in your inbox every day. Don't have to go anywhere. It's just there for you.
Right.
And you can find that in the show notes, and you can find the links to all of the Curse Breakers jazz in our show notes too. So any our social media, Facebook, Instagram, etc., our website, which has all of the astrology in it. And then you can find Coventry. It's a lot to take in. Take a breath now. And then you can find Coventry at Coventry Creations or Coventry Candles on all the social media channels. And that can lead you to CoventryCreations.com, where you can find your Saturn candle.
Yes.
And then, and you can find me in any of Coventry's socials. And Storm, where can they find you?
I'm Storm Sestavani everywhere except on Facebook. I'm facebook.com/astrogossip because I like to talk about astrology. So there we have it.
And you also have a website. So if you want a reading with Storm, if you want to,
StormSestavani.com, yeah.
StormSestavani.com. So you can get a reading from Storm. You can figure out your own astrology. You can get your horary chart, which you don't even know what that is, but you'll find out when you get one.
Yeah.
And
Jackie loves them, by the way.
And so what do we need to do for the rest of the week from now till our next show?
We need to keep it magic.
And we need to speak life. Did you see how we flipped that over?
That's what we did.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Peace out, everybody.